What's up, guys? Peter from Panda here. Hey, look what I bought. It's another Zinus bed. And as you can see here, it's about as tall as I am when it's delivered like this, because that's pretty much the headboard in there. And then everything, I think, is kind of installed or packed into the headboard itself. So this is a queen size and it's pretty heavy. And so I thought I might be unpacking it out here in the garage and taking the parts into the house and then getting this sucker set up. So let's go ahead and try that. All right, guys, so I got the bed into the room where I'm going to set it up, and you are going to kind of want to lay it out where you're going to need it. So I'm going to put the bed headboard up against that wall, so I'm going to end up moving this over there. This is not my first Zinus bed, but I was so impressed with my other one that obviously I picked this one up. Now, it's obviously laying face down. I've got the back up here, and that's because all of the parts for the bed are in the back panel here. So it's kind of a cool little packaging. You unzip this and you flip this bad boy open, and there is the cache of components, right? So you've got your panels here. Now this one is in kind of a gray fabric. The other one I have is like a pleather. But wanted to try something different, not necessarily have the same matching bed set in both rooms. So you kind of take everything out, and then you get the headboard zipped back up, and we'll start assembling it. So I'm going to show you how to assemble it, and then we'll take a kind of a close look at the finished product and give you my thoughts. Now, the instructions for setting this up are pretty clear, but if you follow my video, you may not even need the instructions. First of all, you're going to want kind of the big crossmember piece here. It's labeled D, or it's identified as D, so you're going to want the D. So you're going to have to find the D, because this is what you're going to need, and you're going to get the D, and you're going to open this up like this, and then these two legs fold down like that, and like that. And that is going to be one big piece of the bed right there. Next, you're going to find your little accessory kit, which is going to include some bolts of different sizes. You pay attention to the letters. And then you're going to have an Allen key here. What you're going to want on this one is to use the L bolts, which are these bigger ones down here, L. And it looks like you get a spare one there. And you're going to run a bolt through here so that these legs that folded down now are going to be permanently fixed. Next, you're going to want to find your E bar, which is really the only other metal bar, and the legs just fold down on the sides here. So what you're going to notice is that the E bar is a little shorter in length than the D bar. Now, here's where these two will kind of intersect to make the bed. This D bar is going to be the long bar, and so that's going to be the length of the bed, at least in the case of this bed, which is a queen size bed. This E bar is going to intersect it in the middle. So you can see here, hopefully, there's a notch in the middle of the D bar. So what I'm going to do is, just to kind of get things generally in place, I'm going to put this in kind of in the direction that the bed is supposed to be set up anyway, so I don't have to move it too far. Then I'm going to take this E-bar and I'm going to sit it in here in the center. There's a couple tabs that are going to hold it in place. And now you're going to use one of those screws to attach the two bars together. So you're going to have this X. That's going to take another one of these L bolts that you just used, and you're just going to install that and tighten these two bad boys down. Now, step number 6. That box that all the parts came in and your pieces actually come with 4 legs. They're plastic and they look like, you know, cups kind of. But they have a screw on the end. You're going to want to take off the little rubber stop on the end of it. And now you're going to screw these bad boys in. You're going to screw them into 2 different parts. The first part is the headboard up here, which I have the padded side now facing out. On the bottom, this black part, this unfinished part, is going to be hidden underneath the mattress, but if you look down out here on the bottom, you're going to find a little hole right down there, and this leg is going to just screw right into it. And then you just want to install it on the other side as well. Now, you obviously have 2 legs left, and that's where the footboard is going to get its legs. What you're going to notice about this is it's completely wrapped in fabric, and unlike the other pieces, it's kind of flat as well. The other boards with fabric have wooden supports attached to them, so it's not going to be that piece. It's going to be the kind of the unfinished long piece that's going to fit right on the end here. So again, this exact same thing. You're going to notice that on the ends here, you have a little hole, and that's where the leg is going to screw into the footboard here too. So let's go ahead and install. Now this thing is starting to come together, and what you're going to notice here is that the bar has 2 little notches, and there are 2 bolts attached to the headboard here. It's going to be the same on the footboard. So you're going to want to back out these screws just a little bit to give them a little gap so that you can slide this plate over them. So you're going to back out both of these bolts here. Now once you get them both loosened, you're going to take the bar and fit it over the 2 bolts. Now, if you have the headboard resting against the wall like I do, you're going to have to get it vertical to get the bar to slip over it. And there, pops into place, and now you just tighten these back up. You're going to do the exact same thing down here on the footboard. Back out the 2 bolts right in the middle of it, just a little bit. Take the 2 notches on the D-bar and get them over and snap them into place, and then tighten those down. All right, now we've got the headboard and the footboard, but we have no sides. So what you're going to need to do is grab one of these panels. Now there's only 2 different versions, but the difference is on one end you're going to have a bracket that's going to either attach to the headboard or the footboard, and then on the other side you're going to have some of these bolts that you're going to back out, because that's going to slot in these little brackets here. So in this case, I would attach this end to the headboard and this end to these little support brackets here. And if it were on that side, this would be attached to the footboard. So let's go ahead, and all you have to do here is, again, back out the bolts out of the headboard a little bit so you can get in this piece over them, and then you want to back out the bolts on the sideboard here a little bit so you can get them into this piece right here. Okay, so let's just loosen them up and then get the thing in. All right, so I've got all the sideboards in. If you haven't taken this time now to tighten up all those bolts back, this is where you want to do it. I mean, you have most of the bed at this point put together. You're going to put down the wood slats here in just a moment. So I'm going to tighten everything up, and then we'll install the wood slats that are the platform. And now what you'll notice here on the sides, you have these wooden rails with the hard-sided, prickly side of the Velcro on this side. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our rolls of wooden planks. You're going to have to remove the wire straps on them, and they're all tethered by a long piece of Velcro, and you're just going to lay them down so the Velcro meets the Velcro on the board, and then roll them out. Now you've got 2 of them, so you're going to have one for the top half of the bed and one for the bottom half of the bed. So let's go ahead and get those installed. Wow, so that's basically it. You just kind of roll the boards down there. Now I noticed that some of these are a little bit bowed, like this middle one here. In fact, has kind of a lot of bowing to it. But once you get a mattress on there, and obviously the weight of a person, even if the Velcro isn't kind of holding it in place right now, that's going to kind of hold it in place. Now, what I've also noticed is that, especially when you use those memory foam mattresses, they're pretty heavy and pretty thick, so they kind of really push everything down. I only put a mattress on top of the boards. I don't use a box spring anymore because it's kind of nice that this is off the ground quite a bit. So the legs and the frame kind of lift this thing probably 7 inches off the ground. So you could certainly store stuff underneath there if you wanted to. And then you have probably another 7 or 8 inches of, material here. The bed is probably sunk a couple inches down, so you don't have it a full like 16, 14, or 15, 16 inches off the ground. You're probably about a foot off the ground to start. And then whatever size mattress you have, like a 10 or 12 inch mattress, then your total height off the ground is going to be a couple of feet, possibly. The thicker the mattress, the higher off the ground it is. But I've kind of noticed that height is really, really good. Now, let's kind of take a look. I think, it went together pretty much just like my other Zinus bed, or Zinus bed, or whatever they call it. This one's a little different because it's a cloth, it's a fabric, and as you can see here, it's kind of gray. It's like a charcoal and silver. There's a little bit of kind of variety of color in here. The material feels pretty good. It kind of feels like a wool suit, a little bit like a wool dress suit in terms of material. Not quite that fine with that kind of a thread count, but it's a little thicker, but it seems pretty nice. And actually it's pretty, I think, pretty classy looking in general. And maybe it doesn't match my carpet perfectly. Sometimes the drapes don't always match the carpet, but I think as a standalone it looks pretty nice. So I'm pretty impressed with that. If we go up here to the headboard where we're going to see it kind of in all its glory, what we have here is kind of a square tufted pattern to the stitching, as you can see. And then again, kind of this gray. There's no white. I mean, it might kind of look like that in the camera, but it's like, it's actually a little bit more uniform gray than you'd think. It just looks a little more speckled the closer in you get. So the further away you get, it just kind of looks like a kind of a gray material, almost like a denim. I would say a little more on the higher end, like a polyester type of fabric than a canvas. It doesn't look like it'll wear as much as like denim pants do. So that's pretty cool. It's a square headboard, and as you know, it's not super thick it's thick because all the materials and the supplies for the bed came packed in it. But this is actually, even though this isn't that thick, there is about an inch of padding, or about an inch of give here. So if you're sitting up in the bed and leaning against this actually would be a pretty comfortable place to be. Obviously the sled or the sleigh type of headboard, where it's kind of sculpted and reclined back, it's probably going to be a little more comfortable, but this seems like it's going to resist stain and dirt and look pretty nice too. Kind of an executive style look, I think. So, if your, room is kind of more in muted, earthy, well, let's say kind of cool colors like white, off-white, blue, gray, black, those types of colors, I think this is going to look really, really good in it. So overall, I'm pretty happy. Like I said, I got this one on Amazon, and including delivery, I want to say that it was under 160 bucks. I bought it when it went on sale because I needed one, but didn't need one badly enough to buy it at full retail price, which was only, about $180 or $190. So for under $200, you get a full bed like this, and I think it's really a steal. Check it out. They have these in different styles and colors. You can get it in kind of a sand color, which was my next choice. I almost thought about getting that one. And then obviously I have it in that espresso kind of faux leather, pleather material, which looks great and has held up really, really well. I'm a repeat customer. So follow the link in the description if you want to check it out and see some of the other styles. But that's how you set it up, and pretty nice overall. Peter Von Panda with my Zinus bed. Out.